So let's talk about what happens if trust gets eroded internally. We have things like increased burnout, lower morale, disengagement of staff. How have you addressed that at the agencies you've worked for?
I have definitely experienced ups and downs in the capital trust account. I think I've heard it described that way before, and I've always thought it was a really good analogy. But it's like an investment account or like a cup of water that you make daily deposits in, and you want it to be full because you know that there are going to come a time where you need to make a withdrawal, and you don't want it to go negative. You want to make sure that there's always something in there. So I don't think a leader's job in building trust is ever done. I think you have to pursue that every day. But when you do have to make a withdrawal, you hope that there's enough in that account to keep you moving forward. But I've always found that facing it head on with humility and humanity is the best way. We tend to think as leaders that our teams expect us to be perfect. And if you're a high drive, type A personality, we believe that of ourselves. And so sometimes we're even harder on ourselves than our team is. But at the end of the day, people want to know that you're human. And if a mistake has been made, either you have made one personally or it's been made by the organization, they want to see somebody own it and they want to know what we're going to do about it. And so I think when things get quiet and there's a bunch of whispers up and down the halls and the doors are closed, it creates all of this room for people to spin and to create ideas and narratives that just don't exist. And so I think one of my favorite quotes is by General Patton, and he says, "No good decision was ever made in a swivel chair." And all to me, all that means is you got to get up from behind your desk. You have to see the battlefield the way that the troops see the battlefield. And so if there's turmoil, if there's been some sort of erosion in trust, then you got to get up and you got to see it from their perspective. And once you do that, you'll be more in tune with what they're seeing, what they're feeling, and maybe even the direction that you need to go. Um, so I know the tendency is to like hang your head and feel really bad as a leader. And I'm not saying that there isn't an opportunity or a time for that in private, but when the burden is on your shoulders to lead the organization, you got to take your moment, take a deep breath, and you got to get out there and be with your folks and let them know what the plan is. How are we going to overcome this?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's so important for leaders to demonstrate that self accountability. And when we're able to, admit our mistakes or admit that we, made a wrong decision or an inaccurate decision, employees respect that, right? And that again builds that trust when your employees can respect and also have empathy when it's like, oh, yeah, I could see why that decision was made and why that wasn't the best one at the time. But I appreciate that that leader is now coming out to say, hey, I didn't do the best I can, but here's how I'm going to fix it going forward.
I don't know if it's just policing or what, but uh, it's so rare to hear leaders say, "I was wrong. I'm
Uh,
sorry. Will you forgive me?"
Why do you think that is,
um,
JT? Why is that with us? Is it because of lack of vulnerability, or is it just?
mhm,
I mean,
That's
is it?
exactly what I was going to say because it's
yeah.
so vulnerable. You are
Mhm,
all out there when you say those phrases. Um, but the truth is, I know that we feel vulnerable, but what everybody else sees is strength because they know how hard that is.
mhm.
And so it creates more deposits in your trust account by doing that because they really truly don't expect you to be perfect, but they do expect you to be honest. They do expect you to be real, and admitting failure is both of those things. It's honest and it's real, and that those are the kinds of people that people want to follow.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
that's a great point. And in terms of how we look at that and how it we talk about all these big things in terms of trust and building trust and how we approach it. And your letter idea is fantastic. I don't know how many pins you went through, but I would imagine it was quite a few. But
Yeah, these are my favorite.
Okay, noted. I feel like we're tagging products here. This is great. So why not, right?